Always, pleasure to talk to you. Look, this is a difficult one for you to gauge, isn't it? Because, really, you've done pretty badly, but you were expecting that. Have you done as badly as you thought you might?
Well, I think the honest answer is there's a difficult set of results, particularly in London, and you've highlighted some of those. But equally, we've made gains elsewhere, whether that's Hartlepool, Nuneaton or Thurrock. And this is against the backdrop, as you say, of us being midterm, all those kind of headlines. I think when you take all of that, it doesn't demonstrate that Labour has the momentum to get into government.
Yes, you can argue as well. They didn't do as well as maybe they should, a good opposition party, midterm.
Yes, that would be precisely my argument. And actually, if you look at, say, what Tony Blair achieved, if you remember back in 2005, you were talking in your previous extract about things people don't remember. Maybe people don't remember the run-up to the 97 election anymore. But in 1995, Tony Blair gained 1,800 councils. Even Ed Miliband managed to get over 800 in 2011. And indeed, William Hague, very, very good friend of mine, he gained 1,300 in 2000. None of those people went on to win the elections. Labour are not going to do anything like that.
No, John Major lost 2018, didn't he? I mean, it was, that really was a grim night for him. Yeah. But it does raise questions, though, about the future of the Prime Minister. We know he's a bit of a Marmite figure for a lot of Tory voters. Now, it's interesting because the Conservative leader of Carlisle Council he's repeated his views that he thinks the PM should go as a result of all of this. I think we do need to bear in mind that, he admits he was a Remainer and never liked Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, so perhaps his view is a little bit tainted. But this is going to increase some of the rumblings, isn't it?
Well, you rightly highlighted the background to the leader of Carlisle. And look, of course, I'm deeply disappointed whenever we lose good Conservative councillors. But I've been touring the country, certainly out of London and the South East, knocking on doors. And of course, people are frustrated. But I think people's frustration is more at hearing constantly this noise in Westminster. And they're saying, can the government actually get on with the job of delivering? Can we show the kind of boldness that we showed with getting that vaccine programme, fastest vaccine rollout in Europe, not once, twice, but 3 times. The kind of boldness we showed in breaking through the barriers and getting Brexit done. They want that kind of boldness and determination in dealing with the problems the country is facing right now, not least the war in Ukraine and the impact on the cost of living. And I think Boris can provide exactly that.
Oliver Dowden, forgive me for jumping in. But, when you look at the boldness you talked about with the pandemic, that was an urgent situation. And admittedly, the government acted very quickly. A lot of people would say the cost of living crisis now, for an awful lot of people, is absolutely desperate. And yet nothing is happening in the immediate sort of time scale. So why not? Why isn't something being done about green levy, about net zero targets, about some of the VAT on fuel, some of the national insurance rises? Why isn't the government acting immediately on these sort of issues?
Well, first, I think you're absolutely right to highlight this. In my experience, that's what people are talking about around the kitchen table or in their front rooms, how they're going to pay the bills. And we have taken action. We've taken unprecedented action, actually, over £22 billion worth of support. They may sound like dry things, but, for example, increasing the taper for universal credit, that helps people on the lowest incomes by £1,000 a year. Increasing national minimum wage helps people by another £1,000 a year. We've cut fuel duty by 5p. That helps families about £100 a year. And actually, we have started cutting taxes, and I think it's absolutely right that we should do so. So, for example, we've increased the threshold for national insurance contributions. That will be coming in July, and the Chancellor has announced plans for further tax cuts down the line. And when it comes to green levies and so on, I think it's really important that we have a sense of balance and proportion about this. Now, of course, I'm a Conservative. I believe in conserving our environment. We need to protect our environment for the long term, but we can't have the madness of closing down our own oil and gas production in the North Sea and then importing it from places like Russia and elsewhere. And that's why we've shown a commitment to actually getting that investment back into the North Sea in the face of opposition from people like Nicola Sturgeon.
Interesting, you said that you've been doing some campaigning yourself. What were the biggest issues that came up on the doorstep? It wasn't Partygate, was it? It was probably cost of living.
Yeah, look, as you might imagine, a range of issues came up on the doorstep, and of course, cost of living came up a lot on the doorstep, and it should be no surprise that it has. The situation that we're facing now is one that some of your viewers may recall. It's more like the kind of challenges we faced in the 70s and 80s, whereby we've got these two things hitting us at once: the big increase in oil and gas prices because of what's happening in Ukraine, and the impact on on supply chains as we come out of COVID. Basically, we need to produce a lot more stuff again. China's lockdown and so on. All of that is pushing up prices, not just here, pushing up in America, pushing them up across Europe. And that's what the government has to take action in relation to, and that's what people want us to do. I've outlined some of the measures we're taking, but actually a cabinet just a couple of weeks ago, the Prime Minister is challenging us to find more things that we can do to cut the cost of living and to help people.
OK, look, Oliver Dowden, it's really good to talk to you, as always. Are you going to pop over to our studios one of these days and come and join us for a chat on set?
I would absolutely love to, and we'll find the time to do it. As you might imagine, I'm doing quite a few of these interviews this morning, so we're trying to pack them in back to back, but I'd love to come and speak to you in person. Let's find the time for it.